Wildest party stories, unbelievable true tales from Reddit. We had a hotel party after our senior prom had wrapped up. 20 folks crammed up in a small hotel room. People were drinking in the room, and we had the smokers do rotations on the balcony. As we were rolling another cigarette, we saw 3 police cruisers pull up on the ground floor from our balcony. I immediately knew it was for us. We hid all the drinks in the cabinets of the small kitchenette, and my friends and I put some items into Ziploc bags and stuffed them in the tank of the toilet where the water supply is. Folks were bundled up hiding in the bathroom, the closet, crouched down on the balcony, and even had a guy hide under one of the separate beds the room came with. We closed the blinds to the balcony, and my prom date pretended to have gone to sleep. I cut all the lights, stripped to my tank top and boxers, and kicked my shoes off. A couple of minutes go by, and there were knocks on the door. I didn't want to answer immediately, so I let them knock a few more times before answering. I pretended to sound and look groggy, as if I had just woken up. The cops told me about a noise complaint, and I told them it couldn't be this room. They looked confused, and I had the door wide open. They didn't bother to check, thankfully. We waited half an hour before cleaning up and then celebrated at Denny's. My college neighbors were having a party once, and they kicked someone out. The guy came back and started trying to kick down the door. Someone at the party ended up injuring the guy in the leg. My friends and I were on the front stoop watching all this unfold. The last I saw, the guy was running down the street with one shoe on the phone yelling, "I am bleeding." It was crazy. My colleagues and I were out on a weekend getaway. I went to check on my boss in her room, and she opened the door completely naked and reeking of alcohol. She asked me to come inside, but I politely declined and asked one of my female colleagues to look after her. I took a nap, and after waking up, I started looking for my colleagues but couldn't find them. I went back to my boss's room and could hear a bunch of voices inside. I knocked on the door, but it came ajar, and I saw my boss and my colleagues, drunk, naked or half naked, having a wild time. Needless to say, I got out of there. I had just arrived on campus and didn't know where things were or what was happening. A few people told me to download this app called Skiffle, which shows you college parties within 100 miles. I downloaded it and immediately started meeting people around me who were going to this huge rave that evening. When I got to the event, I messaged the group on the app, and we linked up. We started taking shots and drinking moonshine. I was pretty drunk. Then it started to get a little out of hand. They started doing stuff off of each other's bodies. I stayed to observe for a while, but left when they tried to get me to join in their activities. They're cool people. I still talk to all of them to this day. It was a fun, wild first night at college. I was at a house party when I was a teenager in Ohio in the middle of winter. There was about a foot of snow on the ground, but the sky was clear. The front door to the house was wide open for ventilation. My buddy and I were standing in the living room by the foyer, drinking sodas when we heard a guy outside yelling. Then we saw him run past the front doors, his legs engulfed in flames. In full panic mode, it was like a movie. We looked at each other for a second, then set our sodas down and bolted out the doors after him. We tackled him in the neighbor's yard and rubbed snow all over his legs. Turns out he was putting gas into his car from a gas can. Drunk, spilled it all over his legs, and thought it would be a good idea to light it to get it off his pants. During my junior year in college, I went to a party at this huge mansion that some fraternity had rented out. It was packed, with people in every room and even out in the massive backyard. At one point, someone thought it would be funny to release a couple of chickens into the house. Chaos ensued as people tried to catch them, slipping and falling, and generally causing a huge ruckus. One of the chickens ended up on the DJ's table, causing the music to scratch and stop, which only made things crazier. It took about an hour for everything to calm down and for the chickens to be caught, but it was the talk of the campus for weeks. One of the wildest parties I ever went to was a beach party during spring break. Hundreds of students were there, and the atmosphere was electric. As the night went on, someone decided to start a bonfire. Everything was fine, until someone threw a bunch of old furniture into the fire, causing it to blaze up dangerously high. The flames were so intense that it started to attract attention from miles around. Eventually, the fire department showed up, and we all had to scatter to avoid getting in trouble. Despite the chaos, it was one of the most memorable nights ever. Thank you for staying with me throughout the video. Dear viewer or listener, please like this video and share your impressions in the comments. Take care and good luck.